You did not go brain dead?
No, because the energy was still here, it was still attached. It doesn't, it just, don't ask us how it works, it just, the energy can travel, and I don't know how far it goes, or what it enters into, but it comes back again, but it's still attached to you. That's why when people say I could see down, of course they can. You're looking up and you're looking down. That's what I saw. And he explained it to us, like putting things on top of cupboards, and that's what I saw. They proved that it took place.
Yeah.
He wouldn't tell me what he had put on it. He said, what did you say on top of that cupboard? So what cupboard? Oh yeah, I remember seeing that from looking down. But you don't leave the body. It's the brain, the conscious brain, that's seeing it. Without that, the energy can't see anything. Do you understand? It's like that cable. It's like, we're just, it's energy.
Yeah.
Plus a soul, and a spirit. So if you kill a person, squash the brain or something, the film gets caught up into the energy. So when they're reborn again, like you were reborn, right? You died, your energy went back, came into another body, but with a blank tape. In other words, when you died, everything ran out, right? Your energy went off, could have been away for 10 years, 1,000 years. You come back into another body. That's why they've got to get rid of certain. If you got rid of that race, it's like, animals are extinct.
Well.
So if you get rid of certain animals, that animal will
Shall
be.
we just give you a word for level?
Yeah, just check my
Okay,
level.
great.
You got all the cameras running again, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Is my little run?
Yeah, it's a little one. Okay. Urwin Stone, take 2, take 1.
Right, as I was saying before, once the energy leaves the body, it's dead.
Right.
Right? Now the object, the exercise is to keep the energy still attached to the body.
Yeah.
Then travel wherever it goes into another time span.
Well, it's also astral projection. People who astrally project out of the body, they see things from afar, right? Viewing.
Well, that's the same thing.
Right,
but they don't leave the body.
But they don't, exactly. Well, they don't
it's
die.
It's only the energy.
But they're able to
it's only
keep
the
the
energy
connection.
that does the traveling.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it sends the pictures back to the conscious brain, or to the subconscious brain. That's where the memory's stored. The conscious brain is the thing it's the conscious brain that takes notice of things and, directs. In other words, if I'm looking at the cup, it's that I'm directing into the subconscious brain.
Yeah.
This is why when people are studying something, you're studying an exam, you don't see what's around you. Okay? So they have to shut off the conscious brain so they can use the eyes to concentrate on a certain subject without taking the rest of it in. Well, that's what they did with me, apparently. You see, that's how they do it. But again, once the energy leaves the body, it cannot come back. It's gone. You're dead. It's as simple as that. You're in the Earth's energy fields, and you can be out there for, I don't know, they said forever. As long as, and there's millions of them, literally millions of them.
Of what?
All souls of different races, all looking for their DNA code, if you like. So when the baby's born, when the baby's being developed, and the pineal gland is fully developed, right, and all the electricity's in the bird, it's when it gives off the signal. What can happen there is, if that vessel is damaged in some way, where the signal isn't correct, 2 energies can float into that body. So when the person's walking around, they believe that there's 2 people here. There is 2 people there. So when you have a person born and that vessel is again damaged in some way, where it gives off the wrong signal, a female signal instead of a male signal, the male energy gets into that body, that person walks around saying, I'm a man, when it should be a woman.
Right. And
That's fact.
And vice versa.
That takes place. So when you see that, it's not that person's fault, it's whoever was responsible for that down vessel.
And why is it damaged?
Through breeding. It's the breeding process. I don't know exactly. Somewhere along the line, they're interbred with their own, like with brother and sister, that sort of thing. Do you understand? Somewhere along the line,
the DNA gets
mixed up. The signals are wrong. Do you understand? This is why you get gays. This is why you get men who are in a woman's body, a woman in a man's body.
Yeah.
That is fact.
Yeah.
You can also have, like that young girl in America, she's got two heads, right? Two pineal glands, but they're both different people.
The twins, are they?
No, she's got two heads.
I haven't seen that.
I'm sending you the film. She goes to school. They both of them got boyfriends. So you need
scary.
one body with two heads. They've both been for driving lessons, and they both passed. And they both go to school, and the whole school knows them.
Okay.
There's more bizarre things than that.
I bet.
The devil, women's breasts, animals' heads, that's what they're trying to get.
Baphomet.
Yeah, the Baphomet, yeah. That's their intention. They want to mix everything up. So all the DNA codes that makes people what they are, to understand normal human beings, they want to mess that system up.
I want to get into that, but first I want to ask, because...
Well, don't forget, I'm not an expert in this, you know.
No.
I went through the one step beyond, and I'm just telling you what I experienced.
I want to ask because what you talk about with in terms of two identities coming into one person, like
that's right.
Like a multiple personality
That's
disorder.
Right.
People say this. MK Ultra was dealing with this. MK Ultra was creating, for example, Monarch. They were trying to basically Monarch victims basically were people who they abused at a very young age, from 2 years old to 7 years old, right? Trauma. Sexual abuse, seeing people murdered, and frankly, we're seeing more and more of that being used on a mass level.
Yeah, I think you'll find that the people just crack up.
They crack up, and then they split into different alter personalities.
Well, again, it could affect the pineal gland and allow other energies to enter. That's what people in the film world are doing with certain stars, right? It's that magic of those damn tablets. It's the secret of that was on those tablets on how to do it.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, you think or you know?
No, they told us that. The 16 told us that.
What are they?
Dynamo.
Which magic was on there?
Well, there's certain words, certain sounds, certain frequencies.
Yes.
Is on them tablets.
That's that's what they do in magic rituals.
That's what they're after. Yeah. Well, no, the other ones are guessing. They're making all different sort of noises and signals, hoping they're going to hit on the right one.
Yes.
Sometimes they do, but they're not quite sure. You know, they can't remember exactly how they did it, so they keep messing about with
Well, sure. I mean, obviously, as you pass on magical rituals, it can be warped. It's like telephone, right? They may lose the potency.
You know, when some of these stars, when they're singing, say, it's not me on the stage.
Oh, sure.
It isn't.
Sure. They've been taken
over. Because the people at the top know how to use they understand what was on those tablets. They know how to operate it, put it that way. They definitely know how to operate it. But where the problem lies, all the information, it's like when you write a letter, if you take some of the sentences out of that letter and put them in the first bit and mix them all up, right? You can read a part of the letter, you say, that's strange, I don't understand it. What's the rest of it? But you got the first two lines right. But that's what's on them damn tablets. Some of the information's there, and I believe that they took them to the German scientists. They were playing about with it.
We'll go back now. Let's go back to the beginning of the tablets, because what you say is that the elite, the Illuminati, that are trying to conjure the Baphomet, which is basically a mixture of all the different genetics.
That's right.
Of man, woman, animal. It's basically it's screwing with human DNA.
Yeah.
why this is separate from the gods, because if the gods that came from the heavens, the Anunnaki that brought us here, as you say,
Well, I don't know whether it was Anarchy or what.
Right.
Anarchy,
but the
I
ones,
don't know that.
But you say that we were brought here.
Yeah, we're definitely brought.
So if we were brought here, were we brought here for the intention of being mixed, almost like an experiment?
No.
Or this is a new
That's
group?
why each race has their own god bringing them from the heavens.
Yeah.
They all have a slightly different story,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a similar one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's why the Chinese are Chinese. That's why they've got slanty eyes and the verbal, and then their music. Well, it drives me crazy. I don't like their music. This horrible screaming, high-pitched noises they make. You see, it's their frequency.
Their language.
Their brain works off that frequency. It's the same with the Indians. You know, the noises they make, and the language. That's why they haven't got alphabets. They've got different ways of writing their sounds down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're totally different.
Sure.
If it was the sun that made them like that, we'll all be like that. In other words, you wouldn't have Chinese with slanty eyes and the way they walk and things like that.
Right.
And then you have a coloured guy who, you know, is black in the way he looks, and then an Indian the way he looks. If there was just the weather, we'd all look the same. Do you understand? Now, apparently, we started off in Egypt, well, East Africa, right? This is when they were using the pyramids. When the gods left, in other words, did what I did, they were leaving their bodies to go into other, what's the word? Other dimensions, okay?
For time, different
they
times.
knew how to come back. They knew how to send their energy back.
Mm-hmm.
So they kept the body fresh,
Yeah.
kept it alive. But the natives, the people that left behind were their people, do you understand, to run the show, sort of thing. And half of them were wiped out, and the bodies were left and the bodies died. So the ancient Egyptians, the kings, never came back. That's why the pyramids went dead, went flat.
What were they doing before?
Well, they were using the pyramids as some kind of way of directing their energy to a certain place. Do you understand? They were
Like in different star systems, or
yeah.
here?
Well, whatever. I was told that the pyramids are now 9 degrees out from where they were. When these other races, when the kings went, some of the kings went, that race of people was attacked and they fled from the area. When they did that, the bodies that were meant to be kept alive so they could get back again, apparently, they died. The bodies died and they couldn't get back. That's why everything went to hell, and these people were driven north and west. And the floods came. The pyramids were half underwater for thousands of years, maybe even longer. I don't know. But that's the story. The people had when the floods receded, is when the locals or the people in the area took over the pyramids.
Right.
No, they used them for their benefits.
Right. But to this day, there are secrets under the pyramids that are not being allowed. They have not let.
Well,
people.
the Russian scientists were there, right?
Where?
Pretend to be military scientists in 1954, 1959. That was one of them where we assassinated.
Was a Russian scientist?
It was a Russian, yeah.
And he was investigating the pyramids?
1959, it was 1959 that we killed that guy and made it look like suicide. That's when we got into his office, we got onto the 3-story building, using their methods, we crossed the river, okay? We got in there, and when we got in, he was sitting at the table. One of our lads, Chalky, had set fire to this outbuilding when we were on the roof, because there was 2 guards on the floor guarding this Russian guy, okay? When the fire took place, they ran downstairs. We dropped in through the skylight, went into this office. Now, in the office, there was, I think it was 3 or 4 windows and they had bars on them. There was only one door, there was only one way out of the room. You understand? But we were trained in this way. I saw the keys on the guy's desk. When Dynamo and them walked in before I did, the guy stood up and asked them, you know, what they were doing there, who are you? And it was Dynamo walked up and he knocked him out, he was going to kill him, break his neck or whatever. And I said, I just put my hand up because we signalled a lot. We didn't say much. We kept our voices down, you know?
Yeah.
And I told him, and I pointed to the keys. As soon as I pointed to the keys, the 4 of us knew exactly what to do, you see? So what we did then was, we needed to get away from the place without the whole armies, you know, the Russians and
so you made it look
the
like
Egyptians.
suicide.
Yeah. So what we saw the keys, we saw the door, and there were the type of keys we could use. Do you understand? Not any key you can do it with, but these were the right sort of keys. They were very large keys, and there was 2 of them on a piece of metal that we knew we could use it. So we always carried string with it, balls of string, you know, for crossing rivers and that sort of thing. And so what we did was, we looked through the drawers. There was a service revolver there. We had, well, Chalky, I think it was, actually picked up this when we were travelling there in this truck. We had an oil filter that was brand new, where you could put a hole in it and you screw it on the end of the pistol. Well, we used that as a silencer. We shot the guy, took that off, dropped it on the floor, left the guy lying over the table, right? And when we did that, I made sure that the arm was up here. I moved some of the things that was on the desk away from the line of his arm.
Yeah.
We made sure that his coat was open. And what we did then was, we put the keys in the lock, rigged the keys up with the string over the top of the door, and through there was 2 locks. One where you could lock it from the inside, but it didn't have a keyhole on the other side.
Right.
This one had the keyhole you could see right through.
Yeah.
Okay? So there was 2 locks on this door. We put the keys in the top. We could have done it in the bottom one, but we could see through the keyhole, and that's why we did it that particular way. But we could have locked the door. There had just been 1 lock there. But because we could use the keyhole as a means of seeing what was going on in the room, is why we used the top lock.
Right.
Understand? So we rigged the keys up, and we had chewing gum. We used to chewing gum all the time, and we used to use the chewing gum as a means of keeping the string onto the keys without tying knots. I mean, they were rigged up; it wouldn't come off. The chewing gum just made sure. Do you understand? So anyway, when we went out the room, we had put the string onto the keys, and I'll show you how that's done. Put the string went through the guy's pocket, put a hole in the guy's pocket. The string went underneath the desk to the bottom of the door. So when we locked the door, I pull on the bottom one. The keys come out of the hole. Do you understand? The string is double at this end, so it pulls the keys across the top of the table into his pocket, and when we pull back, it's in reverse. Do you understand? So it doesn't keep hold of the keys.
It's crazy.
It's not attached to the keys.
Right.
Right? It only took me a minute and a half to do that. In the meantime, the other ones had actually put the bolts in. Well, I'd put we put a bit of string around the top of this chair, bit on the top, 1 through the keyhole, 2 underneath the bottom of the door. So when we locked the door, put the keys in, to pull it along like that, the chair came along underneath the handle of the door. We pulled, the string came down around the bolts, pulled the bolts up, just pulled the string out. So the bolts were in, there was a chair underneath the handle of the door, and the door was locked. And the keys were in the guy's pocket.
Yeah.
So when they broke down the door, what are they going to think? This guy must have had to commit suicide.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's ingenious. But the guy, my point was that the guy was involved in this.
All I know that he was involved in something in the pyramids. He had said they had found some. Somebody had said that they had found a metal arm as well, like a bionic arm.
Really?
Yeah, and they thought he had it, and we were looking for that as well. But at the time, I just thought, at the time I didn't know that. They were looking for it, and I didn't know they were looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking after paperwork, and I was taking photographs of the paperwork. So, but I didn't know then.
But the bionic
we were
arm,
actually looking for these damn tablets.
The bionic arm would indicate what? That they were robotic. That they had robotics in ancient times.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was told afterwards, not during.
Mm-hmm.
So when we left Cairo, there was no one after us. You understand? We didn't have.
No, I understand, because you made him look like he committed suicide.
Like, yeah,
in a genius way, which makes me, of course, realize that many of these assassinations that take place or deaths that are done publicly could be as much ritualistic as anything, because you could make someone die just like this from a heart attack, and you never have to make it an event unless you want to make an event.
You've got the technology today to make anything happen. But in those days, it was...
But even then, I mean, the point is, if groups like yours could conduct these kind of assassinations, you could have done the same thing with John F. Kennedy, for example, with Maryland, with any number of people. But Kennedy was killed publicly for a reason. I think there's a...
Oh, yeah, of course you... Yeah,
there's obviously something more significant to the public execution.
Well, he wasn't doing as he was told. Mm. It all had something to do with the New World Order.
Right.
I don't think he wanted anything to do with it.
Right.
I'm only guessing. I don't know. But I should imagine that's why they got rid of him. It was just like Gaddafi. As soon as he wanted to get rid of the dollar, he wasn't doing as he's told, he was wiped out.
Right.
It was as simple as that.
In terms of the... so again, going back to the tablets and so the Egyptians, what did they call them? You said your people called the Egyptians something else. The 16 called them something else. Not Egyptians. They called them what?
I don't know what they called him. They did have another name, but I can't remember. Mm. It was another name. It wasn't used every day. Just on a couple of occasions I heard him, but I wasn't interested.
Yeah.
You don't understand. I was more interested in what the operation was the next day.
Sure.
So I wasn't taking notes of exactly
I understand.
what they were saying.
You weren't looking at the history.
Yeah, because I don't want to invent things here.
No.
I want to tell you exactly how they happened. Now, one of the good points about this whole thing is they were very ingenious in the fact that they chose me. One, got no background, no education. Who the hell is going to believe me?
Right.
It's perfect. Right? One thing I can prove is the combat, not known anywhere. Okay, I can do it. How do I know all of this? How do I know it? Why, like I say, special forces were after these skills. You don't get these in the armed forces. You heard what the Egyptians said. This guy's the best counter-terrorist expert in the world. Did I get that out of a pioneer corps? Digging trenches?
No. You don't know who the 16 answered to, though, ultimately.
No idea. But all I was told was the way it operated was perfect. I needed to be in a working regiment, because then you could send it on attachments. They used to send you to another regiment. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? Once you left that regiment, you were signed out. Mm-hmm. They couldn't give a damn where you were as long as you got back on the day that you're supposed to be back.
Right.
You see? So, people were sent out on detachments, working on runways, building whatever. You see, so it was ideal. Whether the other 16, the rest of the 16, were working on the same principle, I don't know. They wouldn't, I had no idea who they were. They used to keep changing their accent. They were very, very good at that. They could even talk like I do, in the Geordie accent.
But
it's very difficult.
Did you feel like they were all British?
Oh yeah. When I heard them, when I was practicing somewhere and they were all talking together, it was all here and there, and jolly good show and
higher, but more aristocratic. You think?
Yeah. It's officer material.
More officer material, right?
Yeah, they're all officer material except me. I was the only guy who had a real accent. They used to put the accent on, but they were very good actors as well. And I had to go through that as well. I had to prove that, I had to act. I pretend I was ill, pretend I was wounded in some way, or, various different stages I went through. because you had to convince the enemy, you know.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So, but again, I've lost track here, because just about when I was telling you about all of these multi-personalities, they went into that in detail with me, you know, trying to explain how careful you've got to be, otherwise your energy and soul could end up in hell.
Where's hell?
Well, hell's in a body that it shouldn't be in.
Oh.
You talk to people who know that they're a man, but they're in a woman's body.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good chat to them. Then you'll understand. It's hell for them. They have to have operations. They've got to have things put on, taken off. And they're so, you know, like I say, it's hell for them. But again, this is why we have children, by the way. Why do you think you have children? You don't have children for the sake of having children. You're having children to make sure that you come back.
How do you mean?
Well, as long as your DNA exists, or the DNA code exists, and you're producing the children, somewhere along the line, you're going to be coming back. If you haven't done that, you're not coming back. Why would you want to have children, and you're not going to say you're going to die one day? So what was the point of having the children? Do you understand? If you know that, you know, how life is, and you know, wars and things like that, why would you want, if you think life is as bad as what people make it out to be, you know, what's the point of all of this sort of thing? That's the point. That's why we have children.
To come back.
Otherwise we can't get back.
Why would you want to come back?
Because it's the only time we can feel. It's the only time we can enjoy life. This is life.
So were we created for? I know from the Anunnaki literature they talk about gold. You know, the Anunnaki created us to be gold. You know, mining gold for them.
Well, I was never taught that. Oh, this is life, and we're doing what we want to do. Who's creating the gold? I'm not. Are you? Are you getting the gold for these people?
No, but if you think about the elite that hoard the gold, that they must be making, maybe they say that they're preparing for when the Anunnaki return.
But we don't have to be prisoners for that. The object, the exercises, where again, we'll have children. We're sent into school, not like certain conspiracy programs say, oh, you go to school and, you know, you have children and you go to work and then they say, tell us all about it. You know, what's the point, in other words?
Yeah.
And David Icke says that.
Well, it depends on depends on the society you're living in. Are you living?
Well, it doesn't matter.
Right.
The point is, that's what life's about. When you're born,
Sure.
you have to be taught off your parents,
Sure.
just like animals do. Then after that, you have to start to learn how to make things, how to grow things,
Yeah.
how to be engineers.
Yeah.
You've got to go to school for that. You can't get it any other way.
But these people that we're talking about, the ones who are using the tablets for ritual and magic to enslave us, no? Isn't that the point of what they're using the tablets for? Is to enslave people?
No. The idea is to get rid of us. This is why you've got the blue bloodlines. They want to make sure the AST. You had MK Ultra, right? MK Ultra, you could say, was a cover-up of AST. AST is energy and soul transfer. That's why they wanted the clones. They were hoping to make clones, right? So they could transfer their memory and their energy into a new body. That's what they've been trying to do.
So they can live forever.
So they can live forever.
But
so if they can get rid of all the other, if they can mix up the codes, and the point is to say, when your energy, I don't know how to explain this. Like you say, I'm not an educated guy. I can't juggle with words. The coding system changes in the energy as well. Do you understand? So if they can get your energy and your code system to change through either interbreeding with brothers, sisters, or whatever, that's where you'll keep coming back. Mm-hmm. The blue bloodlines won't. They have their because it's a special code. That's where, you know, you can't get into that. Your energy can't get into the
That's why they
bloodlines.
They interbreed, you're saying. They constantly intermarry.
That's right. That's
and
what it's all about.
interbreed
Yeah.
So they can keep incarnating.
That's right.
But for what end?
Just to live. They know when they're dead, you're dead. You're going nowhere. You're trapped. I don't like using the word trapped because I think this is a prison planet. No. What I've been told, that every planet, if you like, that's got life on it, right? That may be in different stages to us. Some as cavemen, some, you know, where we are now, some in the future, whatever. They're all taking place. Do you see where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm.
They're all taking place, but we can't reach them.
Mm-hmm.
We're here. That's what you say, we're trapped here. Yeah, we are trapped here. In that sense. Do you understand? What energy just stays here unless you can. There is ways apparently where you can take the energy and transfer it somewhere else, but I don't know how that's done. I believe it was on the tablets.
You never heard the theory that the gods who came and seeded life here,
Yeah.
they basically left these bloodlines in charge, like kings, like pharaohs.
Yeah,
right?
and some of them were taken over.
In charge.
Yeah. Well, they took over completely,
Right.
and didn't allow them back.
And the gods left. And
That's right.
Why? Okay, why did they leave?
Well, they can't stay here apparently. I was told that their bodies had changed so much, and they wanted to try and get it like this again. And for some reason, they couldn't just go into another time zone, into another. What's the word I'm looking for?
Was it to do with the climate or the oxygen level? I mean, it's kind of
Yeah, well, yeah, it's
climate basically, right?
Yeah, again, each dimension, or each other world, they kind of just move in on it. I don't know why.
They invade.
Yeah, they could come here in the first place when the Earth didn't have humans here, right? In fact, what I was told, that they came here when the dinosaurs were still here. That's why there were a lot of big people knocking about. Do you understand? They made them big to match the environment. And
The giants?
Yeah, they had yeah, apparently. And then later on, what happened later on when they came back, they found that the whole thing was wiped out and had to start again. And I'm probably not putting this over the way it should be.
What I've
They had to match the body with the environment. Do you
Right.
understand? So
Well,
we didn't
again-
need giants or.
Right, but I've been, and then the reptilians are interesting because.
But I
it's
know
the-
nothing about reptilians, to be
Right.
honest with you. I know nothing about that at all.
Because some people
I've
say
never
that-
met anything like that anywhere.
Right.
Do you understand? So the only thing I've ever seen twice in my life, I was out the army. I've been out about 7 or 8 years. 7 or 8 years. When I first got married, I was married about 4 years. A place called Margaret Drive. I was a gamekeeper, like, you know, I had rifles, I used to go out shooting. I came back, this was in November, on my birthday, on the 20th of November. I had taken the lad out shooting, I came back. I put the rifle in the back of my car, and a can of oil spilled in the back of my car over my sights, over my telescopic sights on my rifle. When I got to my front door at the house, and I saw that, oh damn it, it would have spoiled me, you know. So I took the covers off, and when I did that, this was in the local newspapers here in Newcastle, there was 2 huge circular things, nothing like what I saw in the Middle East. They were white,
Yeah.
huge things. They were there for quite a while. I got the guy next door who was repairing his car. This was about 9 o'clock at night. He came out. He says, "Bloody hell! What are they? They were enormous." They flew off towards the River Tyne. They went along the River Tyne, like 100 feet off the river. People fell off the scaffolding in the shipyards. They went all the way down to the piers, you know, the big piers that run off at Newcastle. They went over the piers, up the coastline, got to the big lighthouse, went straight up and vanished. Thousands of people saw them. 6 weeks later, I was up in the fields where I do the shooting, and I want what you call a three-corner field. You know, it's 3 corners next to Remy Depot. And I was taking the shortcut to the farmer's house. When I went in this field, it's a grass field, there was 3 huge circles, about so wide, as though the grass was burnt. Was 3 circles there. I examined them. I cut the grass away to find out what was underneath, and I found indentation like that in a circle. Do you understand it? Where some weight did that.
Yeah.
I went up to the farmer. I says, "Have you had anything in that field? You know, anything big and round?"
Yeah.
He says, "No, I just use it for the cattle. You know, to the cattle graze there."
Yeah.
I never said anything more. That was 30, 40 years ago. Never saw anything since. No idea what they were.
Right.
I made inquiries. I don't know how they got there. So that's the only other strange things that I've seen since.
But the 16 did talk to you about the gods that came,
Yeah,
the alien gods.
Yeah, that's right.
Did they talk about what they look like? If they said, you said they were human-like.
Yeah, they were like us. But apparently a lot of their functions, their bodies had changed in some way. And they were trying to recruit that by bringing, you know, and apparently this has happened to quite a few planets. And this is why, over a long period of time, I don't know how long ago this was, how many thousands and thousands of years ago it took place, but that's where all your races come from, and that's why they look the way they do look.
But why would they bring 4 different races here?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. The proof's there. They're there. They all have a different culture. They all have the music they play is completely different to us. In other words, the sound
The
frequencies,
vibration, the
the
language.
vibrations, it's completely different.
Well, I always think that the Asians come from the fish people.
Fish people. I don't know.
They have more
I don't know.
fish-like features.
All I was told is that it should be protected. That's what makes the world
The different races should be protected.
Yeah, because that's what makes it exciting.
Right.
You know,
Now, what do you think
the
then?
world in need. You know, is this.
What do you think then of the Nazis in terms of how they understood this, but then they took it to an extreme against the Jews, or what do you think of that?
I don't know. All I know is that if you go back to the extremes that these people went to
preserve the. I mean, the idea was, the Aryan race has to be preserved.
Well, I'm not
Slavs.
talking about. I was talking about even the Romans and before that.
Yeah.
You heard the Jews saying they're the chosen ones. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was told a little bit about that. I don't like going into it too much, for obvious reasons.
Very dangerous subject.
It's a very dangerous subject, but I'm going to show you, and I don't want this on camera. This is more or less exactly what they said to me. They were the people that came here, mated with the Hebrews.
Who are these people?
I don't know.
You're saying they're the ones that came from the skies?
Yeah. There, and then you got, so the Jews kissing their arse. That's a good, I mean, I didn't do this cartoon, but wherever the cartoon came from, that's exactly what's happening. In other words, the other guys in charge, not these people.
But these guys have the hats like the shadow people.
These are these people.
But they have hats. You ever seen the shadow people?
No.
With the hats, they always wear hats like that.
Yeah.
Looks just like that.
Yeah.
It's very creepy.
Well, these are the ones. These are the dangerous. These are the guys that's apparently running the show now.
But I've been told that the Hebrews were the first race that were created, or they were the created race by the Anunnaki, the ones they created.
Well, you can see it
as a merging, because the Jews don't really fit.
It was
either
a
white
race.
or black.
It was a white race that had been taken over because they were here longer. They had more knowledge, and that's why they were taken over. They had, they'd been here longer. They knew all. Do you understand?
You're saying that the Hebrews were taken over
Yeah, they were taken over completely.
But you're saying the aliens came then after humans, or they didn't? I thought you said they seeded. I thought the alien gods were the ones that created humans.
That's right. And then these,
Oh,
the
other-
fifth race.
Oh, another thing.
Sorry, the fifth race is what come later.
You're saying another alien species.
Another
came
alien
later.
species took over the oldest race on the planet at that time. I don't know how far this goes back, but I know they took over that race. They were more acceptable. They knew how to control the spirit to get, to take over the. You use the white body or to take over it. Do you understand?
Was this told to you from the 16?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I was 19 and a half. I thought it was crazy at the time, to be honest. It was near when I started to leave. We would sit and discussing it. And then when they explained a lot more, then I started to understand. And so this is why, the reason why you were chosen was, I could go through that procedure, the one step beyond, because I never drank, never even tasted beer or wines. I didn't smoke. They said your brain was pure.
Yeah.
It hadn't been tampered with.
Right.
If it's tampered with, you're not coming back. If I went through that process,
Yeah.
I would die. It's as simple as that. This is why the elite, as far as I understand, want you to do all this, want you to take drugs, that's why it's freely available in supermarkets now.
Well, that's why Islam talks about, don't drink.
That's right.
It talks about protecting your soul. It's very clear in terms of.
There'll be information out there. I think some of these races have the idea, but they're not quite sure what it means. They just know that certain things are wrong.
Right.
Do you understand? It's like a natural instinct.
Right.
Do you understand? And that natural instinct they're trying to take away from you.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to make it what's called satanic, or the one world government, which is everything goes, basically.
That's right. You're a racist if you mention it. They've got that many words out now,
Yeah.
that make you. Well, they've got other people brainwashed to accept it as well. In other words, they can't do it without the people. It's the people that stop the people from getting to the people at the top. Mm-hmm. It's us. We're the ones responsible. It's your policeman who lives next door. It's the other guys. The elite don't have to do anything. But the fact that we suffer from, well, is that the right word? That we have feelings such as, ambition, greed, lust. That's what makes us. That's why when I sent you that poem, we must kill to stay alive. It's true. We must kill to stay alive. We've got to make sure that we don't destroy the planet. That's why we live a certain period of time. 70 years and 10. That's supposed to be the proper time. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to leave. Otherwise, we'll overrun the planet. Not just that, it's the idea. You get so used to doing things. It's like a millionaire, or these people who's got lots of money. Women doesn't mean anything, doesn't turn them on anymore. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? They've got that many cars, they get up in the morning, they don't know what to do. Yeah. But one thing they do know, they know what happens when they die.
They have to come back.
They've got to, there's no way they want to, even for it's like this here.
And do they have to pay a karma when they come back? Is there like how do you choose where you incarnate into?
I don't know. I just know it can be done.
Right.
Okay, I know that they
because
can.
I think part of the
It was called EST. It was they've been practicing for years, using MK Ultra, or doctors experimenting, trying to find a way on how they can control the energy, send it where they want to control it, where they want to send it, into another body, their energy, but with some memory. Otherwise, what would be the point if they couldn't remember anything? Do you understand? It's like when you're born now, because you don't remember everything you do is new to you. Sure. It's exciting. Therefore, you've got something to look forward to, right? But if you came back with all the memory that you've got now, you could say, what's the point? So this is why all the memory leaves us when we die, or it's supposed to. But sometimes you're caught in an accident, and the memory gets caught up in the energy, and then when you're reborn again, You know, you go somewhere on holiday and you say, oh, hey, I know this place. I'll tell you what's around the corner. But you've never been there. But people don't like that. People don't like that. They say, oh, you must have seen a magazine. There's got to be an excuse here. So, you know, but it's true. You did live before. That's how you time travel. You're here now. When you were born in the future of your parents, right? So you arrived in the future. You weren't here during the war, so you've arrived now.
Yeah.
So you have kids, they're arriving into your future, you know, where you are.
Yeah.
And that's how it's supposed to go, right? And then you come back again with a blank tape, if you like, to start life again. That's how it works. Can you tell me anything else? Are you trying to tell me there's a heaven up there? Millions of people die and go there, and they're all sitting about, sucking their thumbs. They don't swear, they don't do this, they don't do that. If they're all happy and this heaven really exists, why would you just cut all this out and go straight there?
But so what is the purpose of being here? You're just saying just to live and to
it's just
experience this
to
reality,
live,
to experience.
it's the only time we can feel, touch.
There's no spiritual connotation. There's no evolution of consciousness.
Well, tell me why you would have that.
Perhaps because that, I mean, how do you say that? You could say that there's a changing
there's
of
a point where you have to stop, otherwise you end up like a mad scientist. There's a point where you have to stop, because if you keep on saying, where did that come from? Well, where did that come from? And where did that come from? You drive yourself crazy.
Sure.
So you've got to stop at a point where things make sense. When things stop making sense, you've got to stop. There's a certain distance we can travel in those areas. So we've got to be very, very careful here. We don't want to know. As long as we don't know, and we die, keep coming back, we're unaware of that,
right,
everything's okay. It's when you know, it's like when a multi-millionaire has got everything, he's got nothing to look forward to.
right.
So, like as I said before, why would they want to have a new world order, these guys who are in their 75s and 80s, when they're not going to see it?
Let's come to that next. Let's break for a second.
Okay.
She's real. Right.
But if Casbolt isn't real, then she's not real.
Casbolt, listen, I've just been working with the circle makers. There's an awful
Well, like
lot
I said,
going on
when
there.
I put Casbolt to the test, saying what he couldn't do it.
What do you mean?
Well, when he's talking about security, whatever he was talking about,
Well, right. When
I
you said,
pull it to bits. He couldn't
right.
back it up.
You
Yeah,
said
but somebody is
Yeah.
running him. Who is running Casbolt?
It doesn't matter. What makes you think he's being run? If he's being run, he still should have the skills. Otherwise,
I've just realised that.
what good is it?
shot anyway.
well, what good is he if he cannot do these things? Do you understand?
Right.
So
I
you know
agree.
he's.
Well, exactly. It's like Anya Briggs saying that she's worked with machine guns, AK-47s and stuff, and it's like, come on, really?
Okay, this is
Well, the object, the exercise, is when it comes to something physical, put us to the test.
Right.
Okay,
Absolutely.
That's why I wanted somebody like Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
You know, he's a big
okay,
guy.
tape
Navy SEAL. Yeah.
2, I think.
You want to see the SES officer? What I did to him? 23 years in the special
Okay, you
forces.
can talk now.
6'3".
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got the photographs, I think, haven't you? The guy in the background, the big guy. I'll send you some.
Okay, we get 18 minutes on this or less.
So
Okay.
I wanted to ask. You said that before that the NWO is about killing people, not controlling people. That essentially they're not looking to control the population. They're looking it's not about enslaving them. It's about killing them.
Well, the evidence is there. You see it on the Georgia Gatestones. They're actually telling you what their plans are.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, who am I to say, you know, I'm going by what I hear, what I see.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look around you, you can see it taking place in the Middle East. You know, they're getting rid of countries here. They're annihilating them.
Right.
You see, so it's not this is not a figment of our imagination. It's actually taking place.
No, I'm not arguing that they don't want depopulation. I mean,
Yeah.
Prince Philip has said as much, that he would like to wipe out, a few billion people on the planet, and
Yeah.
we know that the agenda, Bill Gates has said as much, wipe out at least 3
If
billion
it goes on the
people.
way it is, okay, if you were to cure everybody, right, so nobody suffered from any illness, and was supplied all the food, what do you think is going to happen? At some point, we must overrun the planet. Right? And that's basic common sense, isn't it? That's exactly what will happen.
At some point, right. Unless, but maybe the cybernetic future that's being created is part of our evolution beyond the planet. The idea of...
Okay, guys, I'm just going to stop because I think my batteries are just suddenly depleting.
On which one?
The conclusion? There's not going to be any room on the roads eventually.
Right.
That's basic common sense. The more you make the car better, stronger, and so it doesn't rot, and then people start losing money, they're going to hang on, they're going to keep the old car.
Mm.
Okay, take 2, take 3.
Well, based on a debt system.
Yeah.
No, but what I was saying is that the cybernetic future is that we're supposed to evolve our bodies, perhaps genetically, so that we can travel through space. Because again, going back to this idea of the gods that originally created us coming from space here, or coming from another world here, why can't we do the same thing and branch out as humans? Why can't we evolve to that same level that our creators had achieved?
Well, because I don't know. All I know is that this body was created and designed to survive on this planet, in this type of environment.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Other than that, it can't do anything. Well, energy might be able to do that, and I believe that the elite, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, I think they've been like with MK Ultra in mind control, and that EST I was saying about, energy and soul transplant, that's what they've been up to. But other than that, you know as much as me. I'm not trying, I'm trying to look at the facts, the evidence. They've got clones,
They have clones, or you've heard about the clones?
Well, as far as I understand, they have clones. They started with sheep, but I didn't think you had to try very hard there because most sheep look alike anyway. I mean, how do you know?
I heard
it's a clone?
actually, it came out recently that there was fake. The original cloning.
It wouldn't surprise us one
The original
bit.
Dolly cloning
Yeah.
was fake, because exactly what you said. They took 2 twin sheep, and it was apparently like a fake.
Well, that's what I thought at the time,
science.
to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because like you say, you can't trust anything these days, and that's where the problem lies. There's so many false information out there. The YouTube's full of them. So again, it's that if you get the truth and you put it into a barrel of lies and deception, you're not going to find it.
Yeah.
And that's why they're doing it. That's why they allow people to put their films on YouTube. For all it's a load of people get confused. They don't know what's real and what isn't real anymore.
Right.
And that's part of that's how clever these people are. This is why they want you to have this. They want to get you confused. They want you to give you this technology.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's that's the way I say it. We're so confused now. We wouldn't know the truth if it was sitting on my lap. So the more we investigate, you can guarantee someone else will come up with a similar idea and say, "Oh, we knew all about that all along. We've been doing that," but have they? That's the thing.
Well, again, going back to the issue of transportation and soul travel, you talked about seeing into past, being able to look into past lives or past forms.
It's not in this dimension. It was in other dimensions. You can't do that because it hasn't taken place yet.
Right.
Do you understand? The only way you could do that, as I said, you had to enter into another body with the same, I don't know what the terminology is, the DNA code or whatever. But there's a special DNA code that we've all got. They said, all our DNA are different. And it's got something to do with that. But when they put, like I say, when I went through the One Step Beyond, and I had no idea what was taking place at that precise time. Now, my energy was supposed to have gone to a different dimension. Now, the only time I saw things was afterwards, because it's only the energy transforming those pictures, just like a satellites up there transform pictures back to here. We don't see the exact picture that's taking place there and then. You only see it when it's returned back here. Well, it's working on a simple principle. When I woke, they had to keep waking us up or bringing us back to normal to be able to see the damn pictures. They used to tell us to close my eyes, and they said some key words or something. I can't remember. They used to touch us and say, keep your eyes shut, and then I would start seeing the damn pictures. Explain to me what it is you're seeing, right? Now, I did see dinosaurs running about, and I saw guys that had huge long beards, sort of, lots of hairs all over them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
Like
that's what I saw.
Like Bigfoot.
Like Bigfoot.
Right.
So apparently that's what we all used to look like at some point. That's what they were saying. That's how we started. The idea was to start from scratch, you know, and gradually learn and improve, and it would take time. But it was meant to take time. Do you understand? So you always had something to fight for, something to look forward to, you know, gradually improve slowly. But apparently what's taking place now in the last 50 years should never have taken place.
What do you mean?
Well, we're supposed to go on for a few thousand years before we get to the stage we are now.
So you think the 16 failed? Is it because of the...
Well, the 16 didn't fail in the operation. They got to the tablets, which prevented the rest from working the whole lot together. I think they'd be more powerful now. They wouldn't have had to wait so long. In other words, I think whatever technology was on them, they didn't get all of it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be struggling the way they are now.
But why are they struggling?
Well, if you look around, they're not achieving, they could achieve things a lot quicker. They could, the weaponry they've got seems to be coming in a slow pace. Like when you saw the towers come down, you saw the top half disintegrate, turn it to dust, right? And then I said that was the big steel girder, then that disappeared. Mm-hmm. It looked as though it was some kind of a test. They were trying something out. You know, that's what gave me the impression that they didn't have all the technology. They were playing about with a little bit they had. Mm-hmm. That's the impression I get.
Well, it's still effective firepower. But what was the technology? It was directed energy weaponry?
Everything on, as far as I understand, everything that was on those tablets is everything, all the information there is about life, how we got here, the advanced technology that's fully available is all on there. And it's like everything else, you've got to keep records in case anything goes wrong. These records are still around so they can be, you know, carried on or whatever. Yeah. I don't know.
But couldn't it be that the 16 is part of the Illuminati, that they were getting, that you were retrieving the tablets for the other to combine with the other four?
Well, that you could say that's possible, right? But it was highly unlikely. If you listen to what they were saying and the people that we disposed of, do you understand the way they went about it? It was all about. All they could talk about was one was just sitting talking to each other before it was time for me to go. They used to talk about, we must preserve this, we must preserve the races, that's all they talked about. We must prevent this from happening.
Like what kind of things specifically?
Well, like I said, they were talking about each race had to survive, providing that these races controlled their birth rate and things like that. That's what they used to talk about. So as long as they do that, then the planet will, you know, carry on for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm. It'll be sustained.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So that's what they talked about. So it wasn't any of this Illuminati stuff about getting rid of people, or, you know, it was the complete opposite. Don't forget. I remember what they talked about. It wasn't until fairly recently that I really knew about the Illuminati, right, what their plans were.
Right.
I heard them talking about it, that a certain group of people were trying to do this and trying to take over the world. But because I was only 19, it just bypassed us, do you understand? I was so involved in the operations because it was highly dangerous and I was still learning, you understand? So I was more interested in that and exactly what they were talking about. I remember what they were talking about, but it was beyond me. Do you understand? I didn't have the information they had. So I was curious.
Right.
But every time I opened my mouth and asked them about it, they said, you don't want to know. So,
well, let's talk about that though. The people that want to take over the world. How do they specify this group? I mean, in terms of, does it have to do with any particular race? Are all races involved? Is it the higher ups within all races that are within, whether it's Chinese to African to European, that's involved in it, or is it more centered around the British American blood, families and for example, I mean, how do they identify?
I got the impression, like I showed you those photos, that a certain race had arrived here, and that they said that they came from the heavens and interbred. Remember that the story's there, but
the fallen ones.
The fallen ones, yeah. They're supposed to be interbred with a particular race of people to disguise exactly what they look like. Mm-hmm. And they are the ones that's causing all the problems. The other ones that's trying to take over the planet.
But they're still... Are they using human vessels to keep reincarnating?
Exactly.
So basically, they're aliens in human form.
Yes, you could say that. Yeah.
And they came before the pharaohs, or
no, long after the pharaohs.
After the pharaohs.
Yeah, that's what I was told. Yeah.
So they're more recent arrivals.
Even it started just as the pyramids, as the pharaohs were traveling, doing their travels, whatever they did from different dimensions. They had to put a stop to that, and they're doing exactly what they're doing now, getting terrorists to fight governments and try and blame the governments for causing the problem. They did exactly the same when the pyramids were in full operation. There's something else they told us. They weren't actually. They were discussing it, and I was overhearing it. Mm-hmm. Okay, they had actually drawn a picture of a square piece of what looked like stone of some sort. Right? I've seen one of them recently. It's hollowed out, and it's got a hole through the side. There should be 12 of them, and these go on the corner of all the pyramids. And they have a top that goes on them. Apparently some kind of beam comes off, runs up the corner of the pyramids. Okay? And they crisscross like that at the top, and then they crisscross again, so you've got like a diamond shape on the top. That's when they do that transfer.
Of the
soul transfer. They are inside, and this is why a lot of them are standing up. Apparently they think that their bodies have to stand up to allow the energy to come out this way rather than... Do you understand? I don't know much about that. All I know is that a lot of the bodies were standing up. Mm. So, but the thing is, I saw these about, I think it was 2 years ago. I was watching a program, and I saw one of these stones, and nobody knew what they were for, and I knew what they were for.
Where are they now?
I don't know, but they're still out there. But they said that they had, I think it was 3 of them or something, but there should be 12 of them. I know there should be 12.
Mm. For the 3 pyramids, the bases of the 3 pyramids.
Each corner of the pyramids is supposed to be
4 corners,
1 in each corner.
3 pyramids.
That's right. And the pyramids were covered with something. I don't know what they were covered with, right? But it enabled the light to shine up the corners of the pyramids, and it did that. When they did that, it was controlling their energy, send it to a certain place. I don't know how they did that. I wasn't there at the time.
Let's reset the tape.
Tape change.
He's ran a tape. It's